You're listening to I've Been Cooking, where chefs and food lovers take apart delicious dishes and piece by piece tell the story of how they're made. I'm Andrea, and I hope you enjoyed today's show.
All right, listeners, are you ready to dive into something delicious? Today we're taking a deep dive into a pastry that's not just tasty, it's full of history.
Ooh, yeah, I'm excited for this one.
We're talking Feteer Meshaltet straight from Egypt.
A classic.
And we're going to be breaking down a fantastic article all about it from I've Been Cooking to discover just what makes this layered wonder so special.
And trust me, there's a lot to unpack here. It's not just flaky layers and buttery goodness. This pastry has a culinary tradition that goes back centuries.
Okay, so for those of us who maybe haven't had the pleasure, can you give us a quick rundown of what Feteer Meshaltet actually is?
So imagine this picture, a pastry. It's similar to a puff pastry, but with a name that hints at its incredible texture.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Meshaltet actually means cushioned in Arabic,
Cushioned, I love that.
which is exactly what those delicate layers feel like. They're soft, pillowy, and just begging for a taste.
It really sets the stage for something special. Now, I've heard whispers that this pastry has some pretty ancient roots.
Oh, absolutely. What's so fascinating about Feteer Meshaltet is that it wasn't always a common treat.
Really?
Yeah, it actually started as an offering to the gods in ancient Egypt.
Wow.
Can you imagine the pharaohs presenting these beautifully crafted pastries as a symbol of their devotion?
That's incredible. It really adds a whole new dimension to it. So how did it make the leap from a sacred offering to a beloved food for everyone?
Well, good food has a way of bridging gaps, right?
Hmm.
And over time, this pastry journeyed from temples to the tables of everyday Egyptians. It became a symbol of hospitality and generosity, something to share with loved ones on special occasions.
So it's like a culinary heirloom passed down through generations.
Exactly.
Wow, that makes me even more curious about the process of making it. Is it as intricate as its history?
It definitely involves some artistry, but the basic ingredients are surprisingly simple. Flour, warm water, a touch of salt, and of course the star of the show, butter.
Of course.
Lots and lots of butter.
To achieve that signature richness and flakiness.
I got it.
Now, the article also mentioned cooking oil. What role does that play in the process?
Think of the oil as a supporting actor. A little bit goes into the dough itself to keep it pliable,
Okay.
and then we use it to coat the dough balls, preventing them from drying out. But the real magic happens when we brush oil onto the surface before rolling out the dough.
Wait, hold on. How thin are we talking here?
Thin enough to see light through.
Wow.
It's all about stretching and rolling each layer until it's almost translucent, like a delicate sheet of silk.
Okay, I'm officially mesmerized.
And that is the secret behind the airy layered texture of Feteer Meshaltet.
I can already picture those delicate layers forming. So walk me through the layering process itself. This is where the butter comes in, right?
Exactly. Each paper-thin sheet of dough gets a generous brushing of melted butter before the next layer is added.
Oh, wow.
It's a meticulous process, but it's this dedication to layering that creates those irresistible melt-in-your-mouth flakes that Feteer Meshaltet is known for.
It sounds like a labor of love, and I bet the final product is worth every second of effort. Can you paint us a picture of what a perfectly baked Feteer Meshaltet looks like?
Imagine this, a golden brown masterpiece, fresh from the oven. The edges slightly curled and glistening with melted butter.
Stop, you're making me hungry.
The aroma alone is enough to send your senses into overdrive.
Okay, but seriously, I'm curious. How is this traditionally enjoyed? Plain with toppings, what are the options?
Traditionally, Feteer Meshaltet is often enjoyed in its purest form to let those buttery, flaky layers shine. A drizzle of honey or a dollop of tahini, which is a creamy sesame seed paste, is all you need for a truly authentic experience.
That sounds divine. But this pastry seems so versatile. I have a feeling I can handle some more adventurous toppings too, right?
You're absolutely right. While the traditional ways are timeless, there's a whole world of modern variations out there.
I bet.
Imagine biting into a warm, flaky Feteer Meshaltet filled with gooey melted cheese or rich, decadent chocolate.
Oh, wow.
The possibilities are endless. And that's what I love so much about Feteer Meshaltet. It's like a blank canvas for culinary creativity.
Yeah.
And it shows how food can evolve and adapt across generations.
It's like this pastry has its own story to tell, from ancient rituals to modern kitchens. But before we get too lost in all the delicious possibilities, I'm curious about something. What sets this pastry apart from, say, grabbing a croissant at the bakery? Is it just the history, or is there something more?
That's a fantastic question.
Yeah.
And it really gets to the heart of what makes Feteer Meshaltet so special. It's not just about the taste. It's about the artistry and dedication involved in every step.
Yeah.
Remember those taper-thin layers we talked about?
Yeah.
I mean, that level of craftsmanship transforms it into something truly unique.
I see what you mean. It's like the difference between a mass-produced painting and a handcrafted masterpiece. You can sense the care and skill poured into every detail.
Exactly. And that's what elevates Feteer Meshaltet from a simple pastry to a culinary experience. Imagine sitting down with a freshly baked one, the warmth radiating through your hands. You break off a piece, and those delicate layers shatter with a satisfying crunch. The aroma of melted butter fills the air, and as you take that first bite, you're greeted with a symphony of textures, crispy, flaky, buttery, and melt-in-your-mouth goodness.
You're really painting a picture here. It sounds like a truly immersive experience, engaging all the senses. I'm thinking about how often we rush through meals, barely noticing the flavors. But with Feteer Meshaltet, it's like slowing down and savoring each bite is part of the tradition.
Absolutely. That mindfulness, that appreciation for the process and the history adds a whole other layer of richness to the experience. It's about connecting with a culinary legacy that spans centuries.
You know, I've never thought about it that way, but it makes perfect sense.
Mm.
When you understand the story behind a dish, the effort and the tradition woven into it, it deepens the enjoyment, wouldn't you say?
I couldn't have said it better myself. It's like the difference between listening to a song and knowing the inspiration behind the lyrics. Suddenly it takes on a whole new meaning.
That's such a great analogy. So, as we continue our deep dive into Feteer Meshaltet, I'm starting to see it less as just a pastry and more as a gateway to a richer understanding of Egyptian culture and cuisine.
And that's what's so fascinating about food, isn't it? It has this incredible power to connect us to different cultures and traditions. And in the case of Feteer Meshaltet, it reminds us that some traditions are worth preserving and celebrating.
So I have to ask, after learning all of this, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from this deep dive?
You know, for me, it's all about sparking curiosity. I hope this inspires you to not only try Feteer Meshaltet itself, but to also think about the other foods you enjoy. Where do they come from? What are the stories and traditions behind them?
That's a really powerful thought. It's easy to take food for granted, but when you dig a little deeper, you uncover a whole world of history, culture, and human connection. It might even inspire you to get into the kitchen and try making something new yourself.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Now, knowing the dedication and artistry that goes into Feteer Meshaltet, how do you think its meaning and taste might differ from the readily available pastries we often encounter today?
That's a really thought-provoking question. It challenges us to think more critically about where our food comes from and the hands that crafted it.
And perhaps it reminds us that sometimes the most rewarding experiences come from slowing down, embracing tradition, and savoring every bite.
Beautifully said. So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of Feteer Meshaltet, I'm left with a sense of wonder and a serious craving. But more importantly, I'm feeling inspired to explore the stories behind the food I eat and to appreciate the traditions that have shaped them.
And that's what it's all about, because ultimately food is about so much more than just sustenance. It's a powerful conduit for stories, connections, and shared experiences.
And in the case of Feteer Meshaltet, it really is. It's a delicious reminder to slow down, embrace tradition, and savor every bite.
I couldn't agree more. You know, food has this incredible ability to just transport us, not just through taste, but through time and across cultures.
Yeah, each bite tells a story. And in this case, a story that stretches back thousands of years.
And that story continues to unfold today, with every baker who carries on the tradition.
You know, it makes you wonder if trying a traditional Feteer Meshaltet would change how you view those pastries you see in the grocery store.
It definitely adds a new layer of appreciation, wouldn't you say? Knowing the history, the technique, the sheer dedication behind it all.
Absolutely. It's like having a secret ingredient almost, like a deeper understanding that just enriches the whole experience.
Exactly. And that's what I hope you all take away from this deep dive. A newfound curiosity for the stories behind your food, and a desire to explore all those culinary connections that make our world so rich and flavorful.
It really has been an incredible journey exploring the world of Feteer Meshaltet, from its ancient origins to its modern interpretations. I know I'm walking away with a rumbling stomach and a whole new perspective on this incredible pastry.
And hopefully a little inspiration to seek out those hidden culinary gems,
Yeah.
those dishes that whisper tales of history and tradition.
So to all our listeners out there, keep exploring, keep tasting, and most importantly, keep those taste buds adventurous.
Until our next deep dive, happy eating.
Hi, it's Jamie, and if you enjoyed today's episode of I've Been Cooking, we'd love for you to share it. Leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a new recipe. Do you know someone who loves cooking as much as you do? Send this episode their way. And hey, let's stay connected. You can find us on Pinterest, Instagram, and Facebook at I've Been Cooking. Tag us to show off your creations and join a community of food lovers worldwide. And if you want to chat with us directly, we're always hanging out on Discord. You'll find the link to join in the footer of our website at I'vebeen.cooking. Until next time.